I was forced to share a desk with a known harasser, and when I complained, my boss said, "Grow up, it's just flirting." I hid a camera and recorded 22 incidents in 9 days. HR tried to punish me for policy breach. I sat there calmly until legal saw the footage and asked for my NDA. Monday morning, I arrive early. I bring a small digital camera hidden inside a pen holder on the desk, small, discreet. I set it at an angle showing both our chairs, his side and mine. I tell no one. For 9 days I record. Day 1 of recording, he asks if I like games and says he'll set up one for us tonight. My face flushes. I keep typing. Later, I delete automatic backup of my phone to make space, just in case. Day 2, he places a paper clip chain on my side of the desk and says it, "For safekeeping, just like you'll keep my secrets." I keep my voice calm, say thank you, but I feel bile rising. Day 3, in the afternoon, he catches me standing up. He grabs my chair without asking and pulls me close. Says, "You look better when you're close." My lips stay shut. The camera catches it. By day 5, I can barely concentrate. My emails go unanswered. My cell phone buzzes constantly, but I keep the camera rolling. Day 7, he corners me in the copy room, just for a second, says he knows what you want. I nod, confused. I freeze, I walk away. I make a note in my phone. On day 9 at 4 p.m., I stop recording as soon as he enters the conference room area. I feel sick to my stomach. The camera memory says 22 clips of incidents recorded in 9 days. I label the flash drive Exhibit A. The next day, I request a meeting with HR. I place the flash drive on the table in the Office of Human Resources Department. HR Manager Angela Wilder sees the label and goes pale. The moment she opens her mouth to say, "Ms. Vega, you've breached policy by recording," I cut her off. "I wasn't doing it for fun," I say. "I was doing it because you refused to protect me." Here's Exhibit A, 22 incidents over 9 days. Legal is reviewing. "Are you going to start the process now?" Silence. Angela looks at the flash drive. My supervisor's name gets mentioned. HR asks me to step out for a moment while they review. I walk back to my desk. I sit. I watch the clock. That's where you'd think the story ends. But I've only just started. If you're watching this, please like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to stand up for yourself at work this way? 2 days after handing over the flash drive, I'm called back in. This time, it's not just HR. It's HR, legal, and a woman in a navy blue suit who introduces herself as compliance investigator. Her name's Terry McGowan. No smile, no small talk. She asks me to confirm the footage is mine. I say yes. Then she asks something strange. "Do you remember signing an NDA during onboarding?" I nod. "Everyone does during orientation." She pulls out a copy. "This document prohibits audio or video recording on company premises without written approval." I take a deep breath. I knew this might come up, but I'm ready. I have a copy of an email I sent to Jansen Tors, my supervisor, dated 3 weeks ago. I complained about Derek's behavior. He ignored it. Terry blinks. She wasn't expecting that. I also made 2 verbal reports. Nothing changed. That desk is a trap. You forced me to sit next to someone with a known pattern, and when I asked to be moved, I was told to grow up. You didn't leave me any options. Angela from HR shifts in her chair. Terry holds up her hand. "We're not here to fight you, Miss Vega. We're here to determine what went wrong." "What went wrong," I say slowly, "was that you protected a harasser and punished the woman who spoke up." There's another moment of silence. And then Terry says, "We reviewed the footage, and we escalated it." That's when I find out this wasn't just an internal HR problem anymore. Legal forwarded the footage to outside counsel. And I wasn't the only one who had complained about Derek Liu. There were 3 other women. 2 had quietly transferred departments. 1 had quit. They'd all signed NDAs and left, but none had proof. I did. The next day, Derek's desk is empty. His laptop gone, chair pushed in, just a quiet, sudden absence like he was never there. No announcement, no explanation. But rumors, they exploded. "He's been out sick." No, he was escorted out. He got into it with legal, heard he's suing. People start treating me like I'm radioactive. Some avoid eye contact. Others nod politely but keep walking. Only a few people, mostly women, say anything supportive. One slips me a post-it note, "You were brave." Thank you, it's not enough, but it's something. What I don't expect is what comes next. That Friday, Jansen tours, the same supervisor who told me to grow me into a private meeting room. His expression is nervous. He says, "Marisol, there's been some misunderstandings, and I want to personally apologize." I look him dead in the eyes. "You mean for letting me get harassed for 3 weeks and doing nothing?" He clears his throat. "I thought it was harmless. Derek jokes around like that with everyone." I slide a printed copy of one clip across the table. It's a screenshot, Derek with his hand on my thigh, me visibly flinching. "Does that look harmless to you?" He doesn't answer. That same day, I get a message from compliance. "We've placed Jansen on administrative leave pending further investigation." I sit at my desk, stunned. One domino just knocked down another. But it's not over. The following Monday, something strange happens. My access card stops working. I tap it at the security gate, DENIED. I try again, same message. A security guard waves me over, apologetic. "You've been temporarily deactivated." I call HR, no answer. I try my manager's line, goes straight to voicemail. Finally, I get a generic email. "Due to the ongoing investigation, you are being placed on paid administrative leave pending review of internal conduct policy violations." They're freezing me out. I didn't panic. Instead, I called a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. A woman named Faith Green. She's a former corporate litigator who now works exclusively with women in hostile workplace cases. I emailed her everything. The flash drive footage, the email trail, the screenshots, the security gate incident. She called me back in 2 hours flat. "Marisol," she said, "they're trying to flip this on you." "Why?" "Because you embarrassed them. And now they're scrambling to cover it up." She asked if I still had the original files. "I have backups," I said. She laughed. "Good, we're going to make sure you're untouchable." The next few days blur together. Faith files a formal complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EOC. She sends a notice of potential litigation to Epic Bytes' legal team. She demands an immediate reversal of the suspension, a written apology, and a full report of all prior complaints against Derek Liu. But just as we're building steam, I get a message from someone I hadn't expected, a former Epic Byte employee. Her name is Tanya Kramer. She says, "I heard about what happened. I left 2 years ago. I had a similar experience. I have something you need to see." She sends me an audio file. In it, Derek is clearly talking, laughing, saying, "The new one at desk 3B, she's too uptight, but give it time. They all warm up eventually." I forward it to Faith. She pauses. "This is huge, because now it's not just me. There's a pattern, and it goes back years, but it gets even bigger." Tanya sends me another file. This time it's a scanned internal memo, dated 3 years ago. Subject: Employee Behavior Complaint, Deliu, signed by HR. Angela Wilder's name is on the bottom. She'd known. She knew before I even started. Faith reads it and says, "They covered up multiple complaints. That's not just negligence. That's liability." Now we had proof of a pattern. We had motive. And we had momentum. But what we didn't expect was what Angela Wilder would do next. It's the middle of a rainy Thursday in Columbus when I get a knock at my apartment door. I open it cautiously, thinking it might be a delivery, and there she is. Angela Wilder, HR manager. Hair pulled back, no makeup, wearing a gray hoodie and jeans, nothing like the polished version from the office. I stare. "You shouldn't be here." "I know," she says quickly, "but I need to talk off the record." I hesitate, then step aside. We sit at the kitchen table. She's holding a folder thick with papers. Angela looks exhausted. "I'm not here to defend myself," she says. "I'm here because I'm scared. You need to know the whole picture." I cross my arms. "Go on." She takes a breath. Derek Liu wasn't just some flirty guy, he had connections. His uncle is a major investor in Epic Byte. That's why nobody touched him. I didn't want to protect him, but every time I escalated, I was told to stand down. I blink. "By who?" "2 people. Jansen Torres and Kenley Marks, Senior VP of Ops." She slides the folder across to me. Inside, printed emails, HR logs, complaint summaries, redacted but detailed. At least 6 different women reported Derek between 2020 and now. None of the reports were followed up. Several were marked closed, insufficient evidence, even when screenshots were attached. She leans forward. "After you came in with that flash drive, I started digging. I pulled every complaint. I found 3 reports that were never even uploaded to the system. They were intercepted. Intercepted how? Jansen told me to hand them to him directly. Said he'd handle it discreetly. I never questioned it. My blood runs cold. And now, Angela looks away. Now I'm being pushed out too. I got a call this morning. They said I'm being reassigned to another department. No explanation. I nod slowly. Angela stands. I know I didn't do enough. I looked away too long, but I'm ready to testify. If this goes to court, I'll back you up. She leaves the apartment without another word, and I sit there staring at that folder, proof of a cover-up, proof that HR didn't just fail. They were complicit. Faith is ecstatic. She says, this is a game changer. We don't just have harassment, we have systemic protection of a predator tied to company money. We can go nuclear. And we do. Faith files a formal motion requesting company-wide investigation records and investor ties. She submits Angela's documents as evidence. The next day, Epic Bytes' board of directors schedules an emergency meeting. Faith and I aren't invited, of course, but later, we find out from someone inside. Kenley Marks, the senior VP who helped bury the reports, is suspended. Jansen Torres, terminated. And a third name appears. Connor Liu, Derek's uncle and one of the top 5 shareholders, has stepped down from the board. That afternoon, my company laptop is remotely wiped. My email account is disabled. And then, I get a call from the CEO herself, Margaret Fairchild, a name I'd only seen in company memos before. She sounds calm, professional. But careful. Miss Vega, I wanted to personally inform you we're conducting a third-party audit. We are fully cooperating with investigators, and we'd like to offer you a settlement. Faith cuts in on speakerphone. What kind of settlement? Margaret replies. A 6-figure package, full benefits for a year and a non-disclosure agreement. I laugh, out loud. You're offering me hush money. No, Margaret says flatly. We're offering you closure. Faith is already shaking her head. We're going to need that in writing. And we hang up. But here's the twist. While Faith is preparing for what we think is going to be a lawsuit, a whistleblower steps forward. A woman named Carly, who works in IT. She contacts Faith anonymously through a legal tip line and provides an internal chat log, private messages between Kenley, Jansen, and Derek. The messages include, she's too sensitive. Just freeze her out until she cracks. We can't fire Derek, he's family. If this leaks, we all go down. Faith can barely believe it. We now have internal chats, suppressed reports, financial conflict of interest, and a corporate cover-up. We don't even have to file the lawsuit, because the EEOC sues first. Epic Byte is hit with a formal federal investigation for retaliation, harassment, and failure to act on known misconduct. News breaks 2 days later. Columbus Business Journal runs a headline, Tech firm Epic Byte under fire for ignoring harassment claims, whistleblower footage sparks investigation. My phone blows up. People I haven't spoken to in years message me. Former coworkers call, some crying, some apologizing. The Post-it girl, Jasmine, sends me a DM, you did what none of us could, thank you. But the real satisfaction? The press conference. Epic Byte is forced to go public. Margaret Fairchild stands at a podium and reads a prepared statement. We deeply regret the pain caused to Miss Marisol Vega and others. We are restructuring our HR department, implementing new oversight, and cooperating with investigators. They never say my name again after that. But I don't need them to, because I say my name. I do an interview with the local news. I tell my story plainly, no drama, just facts. They air the segment under the title, Whistleblower. I just wanted to be safe at work. That night, as my son and I sit on the couch watching the clip, he turns to me and says, Mom, you're kind of famous now. I smile. No, honey, I'm just done being silent. Weeks pass. Columbus, Ohio, suddenly feels like a different city. Or maybe I've changed. Everywhere I go, coffee shops, the grocery store, even the gas station, people glance twice. Some come up to me. You're the one from the news, right? Good for you. My cousin had the same thing happen in her office. It's wild how many people carry stories like mine, hidden, buried, until someone cracks it open. But even with the public support, the pressure behind the scenes gets worse. Epic Byte's board starts bleeding. 3 more resignations hit the headlines, 2 HR executives, and the director of internal compliance. And the best part? The SEC opens an inquiry into insider manipulation. Turns out Connor Liu's investments were tied to hush money decisions. That wasn't just unethical. It was illegal. Faith Green, my attorney, is now fielding calls from multiple former employees who want in on the action. She decides to build a class action case. We now have 7 women on record with similar complaints, some with texts, some with emails, some with just memory. But we don't stop there. Faith hires a private investigator. This guy, Wallace, looks like a retired linebacker and talks like a librarian. Calm, patient, relentless, he finds a payment trail. One of the women who'd quit quietly 2 years ago, she was paid under the table. No record in HR files. No exit paperwork. No tax documentation. Basically, a bribe to disappear. He tracks it back to a shadow account funded by operational flexibility expenses, signed off by, guess who? Kenley Marks. Faith almost chokes when she sees the report. Marisol, she says, they didn't just mess up, they committed fraud. Now we're talking federal crimes. This isn't just a lawsuit anymore. This is going to court with handcuffs. Meanwhile, Epic Bytes' public relations team scrambles to change the narrative. They launch new campaigns. Respect in the workplace videos, cheesy LinkedIn posts from new HR heads, town hall meetings live-streamed on their internal platform. None of it works, because now shareholders are pulling out, stock value dips, and suddenly that 6-figure hush money offer, it triples. Faith reads the latest settlement offer aloud to me. $300,000, 1-year health coverage, a public apology, and no NDA required. I almost laugh. They've lost control. But I don't accept. Not yet. I want to see how deep this goes. Because Faith gets a subpoena pushed through, ordering Epic Byte to release all internal complaint records for the past 5 years. It turns up 15 suppressed incidents tied to Derek Liu alone. Most never investigated. Some never acknowledged, but one record stands out. A note from Derek to Jansen, written 2 years ago. She's not playing along. You want me to turn up the heat or transfer desks? That's when I realize they weren't just ignoring it. They were coordinating it. Now the case reaches a boiling point. The media picks it up again. A major national outlet, ProPublica, requests an interview with me and Faith. They want to cover corporate harassment and retaliation, and my story becomes the lead. The headline: The Woman Who Turned a Hidden Camera into a Corporate Reckoning. That weekend, I get an unexpected phone call. Blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listen to the message. It's Derek Liu. He says, Marisol, you ruined my life. I lost everything. I hope it was worth it. I replay it once, then again, and I smile. I forward it to Faith. She forwards it to the EEOC. Because threatening a whistleblower during an ongoing investigation, that's a federal offense. Within a week, Derek is served a cease and desist. His voicemail becomes another piece of evidence. And now here's where everything flips. Faith calls with a grin in her voice. Marisol, the Department of Justice just joined the investigation. That means real consequences. That means criminal charges against executives, maybe Derek himself, maybe more. It also means I'm protected by federal whistleblower laws now. They can't touch me. Faith and I finally agree to settle, but on our terms. Full public apology, payment large enough to pay off my mortgage, put my son through college, and start my own consulting firm, written promise of compliance reform, and most importantly, no NDA. I want to keep telling this story. Because the only reason it happened to me is that too many others stayed quiet out of fear. And I refuse to be afraid anymore. It's been 6 months. The house is paid off. My son's tuition is covered for the next 4 years. And Epic Byte, let's just say they're still recovering. But the strangest part isn't what happened to them. It's what happened to me. Because once the lawsuit settled and the investigations went public, my inbox exploded. Job offers, speaking invitations, corporate panels. People wanted to hear from me, the quiet woman who planted a pen holder camera and brought a company to its knees. But I didn't jump right in. I took my time. I traveled a little. I spent weekends watching my son's basketball games without checking email. And I talked to women, lots of them from all over the country. Nurses, teachers, bank tellers, hotel clerks. Each one had a version of my story, but they didn't have proof. That's when the idea came. A nonprofit, small at first, focused on helping women in hostile workplaces legally, privately, and smartly document misconduct. I call it Exhibit A. Faith joins me as legal counsel. Angela Wilder, yep, that Angela, resigns from Epic Byte and becomes our director of compliance reform. She spent the last year earning back her credibility, one hard conversation at a time. And we don't stop there. We partner with an ex-cop tech consultant and design discreet, legal workplace tools, hidden recorders, real-time complaint trackers, and educational resources that teach people how to build a case the right way. No rage, no chaos, just power collected quietly and dropped like a bomb. And then, something happens I never saw coming. We get a grant. A federal one. The DOJ, the same agency that helped prosecute Epic Byte, now wants to fund Exhibit A as part of a pilot program to fight workplace retaliation. Full circle, from whistleblower to policymaker. But the final twist. I get invited back to Epic Byte. Not to work there, to speak. They've cleaned house. New CEO, new HR staff, a very public shift in tone. I step into the same building where it all began. I pass the same desk where Derek used to sit. It's empty now. They don't do shared desks anymore. As I stand in front of the new employees, young, hopeful, quiet like I was, I open with this. This company once told me to grow up when I asked to feel safe at work. So I did. I grew up. I grew strong. And now I'm here to make sure none of you ever need a hidden camera to be believed. They clap, some cry. But I don't flinch. Because for the first time in my life, I don't feel like I'm surviving. I feel like I'm leading. If you watched this all the way through, drop a comment below, justice served, or share where you're from. And don't forget to like and subscribe. You never know who needs to hear this story next.